You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis.
What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you?
It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, isn't it?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off Day with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Wednesday, July 29th. Thank you guys for joining us wherever you are and however you may be watching the show, partaking in the show. We definitely do appreciate it. It's been a fun week here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo, and we are just getting started. We've reached the middle of the week. The weekend is within sight. It's been great to be back from vacation, well rested and ready to go, and a ton to talk about here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. Make sure you're subscribing. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP. That helps us out a ton. Also, be interactive with us. We got a chat going on right now on YouTube as well. The everydayers are in there chatting already. And of course, if you're watching the show and you got a question for one of our guests or myself, a complaint, a compliment, any of those things, just want to talk sports, jump on the YouTube chat as well. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us. And we're also streaming on the WHO Plus app, nearly a year with WHO. We love that. Welcome to our viewers in Central Iowa, hour number 1 of the show, with us right here, right now. If you like it, you want to keep watching hour number 2, head to YouTube, X, anywhere you find your podcasts as well. Speaking of which, we are available on the podcasting platforms each and every day as well. So whether it's Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, put in Off Day with Matt Randazzo, and you can listen to the show each and every day as well. As we mentioned, it's been a fun week so far on OTA. On Monday, we opened things up with Pat Anger. Always fun to talk with Pat. We also had a trio of players from the Assumption State Champion baseball team. That was awesome. If you missed that, it was Jack DiUlio, Cooper Sweeney, and Nolan Dittmer. Great interview. Go check that out. Also, we had Cullen Schweigen, the latest commit to Western Illinois, the Rockridge standout. So Monday's show was awesome. Yesterday, just as fun. Kyle Huseman is on here with a ton of information about Iowa women's basketball, as well as the Pleasant Valley baseball team. They took second in 4A, and a quartet of seniors joined us with a great conversation as well. So if you missed either of the first 2 days of the show, go back and check them out. We're excited about what we have for you on a Wednesday right here on OTA. Big Ten Media Days are going on as we speak, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday up in Chicago. Yesterday was a big day. It started with Bret Bielema, continued with Kirk Ferentz, and then Matt Campbell followed after that. Joining us in just a few moments, Tom Kakert's still up in Chicago. He's going to be there all 3 days covering the Big Ten and, of course, Iowa as well. We'll talk to Tommy about what he learned from Kirk Ferentz, not just what we saw on the Big Ten Network, but they talked to the players and coaches after that as well. So some good stuff coming from Tom Kakert. There's a quarterback competition in Iowa City. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but a quarterback competition. So Tom Kakert coming in a matter of moments. We mentioned Bret Bielema. He kicked off Big Ten Media Days for the Fighting Illini. Illinois has won 19 games the last 2 seasons. They have to replace a quarterback. They have to rebuild an offensive line. There's question marks with that team. But Bret Bielema went in there and he's still confident as ever. And he made some headlines with what he said yesterday, not just with his football team, but also about the SEC as well. Jim Mattson, our good friend from down in Peoria, will join us coming up a little bit later on in hour number 1 of the show to talk about the Fighting Illini and what should be an interesting season down in Champaign and the relevant Fighting Illini. We mention this all the time, but it wasn't too long ago that Illinois was like Rutgers or Maryland when they got up to the Big Ten Media Days and talking about finding 5 wins and figuring a way to turn things around. And now you look at Illinois football and they've won, like I mentioned, 19 games in 2 years. And they've had that success. Bret Bielema's done a fantastic job. So we'll talk with Jim Mattson about yesterday and Big Ten Media Days, but also what he expects from the Fighting Illini coming up this season as well. After that, in hour number 2, John Marx is going to join us. I haven't talked to Johnny in a little while. Some news broke last week when I was on vacation. I don't think surprising news, but Charles Jugosall, former Alleman standout, played at Notre Dame and played in some huge games and national championship games at Notre Dame. Won't start on the field in training camp. Injured last year before the season with an ATV accident. still looking to get back healthy. They hope, Marcus Freeman mentioned maybe this year, hopes he sees him this year, but he's still working his way back. We'll talk to Johnny, who coached Charles Jugusall in football at at Alleman. We'll talk to him about what a really good human being Charles Jugusall is, and he's working his butt off, and we hope we see him back ASAP. That, we'll talk to him a little bit about some high school football and everything else in between. So John Marx will join us coming up a little bit later on in hour number 2 of the show. So a very busy show today. Coming up on Friday, we're excited. Luke Barnwell, Iowa assistant basketball coach, will join us live at 10:30 on the show. So we'll go from Luke Barnwell on Friday to talking about SummerSlam in hour number 2. It's a big weekend for professional wrestling. And as you know, if you watch the show, well, I don't do it all the time. I don't do it every Monday. I don't talk wrestling every Tuesday morning after Monday Night Raw or those kind of things. But, when it comes to WrestleMania and SummerSlam, we're going to do a little preview. So that's coming up, I think, on Friday as well. A few more things before we get rocking and rolling. I want to remind everybody that August 9th, Sunday, August 9th, will be the second annual kickoff party for View from the West and Off the Air, talking high school football at the Other Bar in Moline. Will be live from 4 to 6. Last year, we were blown away the amount of people that came there and showed up and listened and got ready for the football season. We're doing it again. There'll be some Godfather's Pizza, some Snoop's Chips and Salsa, a bunch of stuff to get to. So mark that on your calendar. Come out live and join us. If not, make sure you're watching on either this YouTube channel or, of course, View from the West YouTube channel as well. So also August 14th, Off the Air will be live at Iowa Football Media Day, Friday, August 14th. We did it last year. It was a huge success. Knock on wood. Hopefully I don't mess anything up this year, but really excited to do this show once again. Last year we had Mark Gronowski and Kirk Ferentz and Addison Ostranga, and you name it. We had a huge list of players and coaches, and we plan on doing the same thing this year as well. So excited about doing that show on August 14th up in Iowa City. But that's still a little ways away, and we'll get to that eventually. But right now, Big Ten Media Days are front and center, and our good buddy is in the midst of all the action. So joining us now from Chicago, Tom Kakert, as we digest Big Ten Football Media Days. First and foremost, nice hotel. Just have to walk downstairs. Life's good for Tom Kakert.
You know, the hotel that we're at this year is we refer to it affectionately as the Fugitive Hotel. I know you don't ever watch movies, but the movie The Fugitive,
yeah,
with Harrison Ford in it, the final scenes were filmed at the Hilton Chicago on Michigan Avenue, which is where we're located for Big Ten Media Days.
Look at that.
Yeah, I got to see the best linebacker from the Iowa, Orange Bowl championship team yesterday.
AJ Eads was in the house.
AJ Eads was in the house. Yeah, I got to talk to Eads. Got to talk to Eads and Joe Conklin together, which was great.
Jeez, life is good for Tom Kakert. Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, and we mentioned it to Pat on Monday. We were on vacation and hanging out by the pool one day, trying to regroup before we left to go home, and we turned on an Iowa football. We had a game on a Big Ten Classic, and it was the 08 Penn State game. And it's just fun to watch. It was just so much fun to go back and here's the thing, Tom, that I talked with Pat about, is that you go on that team, Quad Cityans, or like, I guess you can't say MAC football players. Let's put it the MAC, because I mean, Mitch used to get mad. He kind of was salty to Tom Cornelis one time. But MAC guys, you had Mitch, Colin Sandeman, Julian Vandervelde, Pat, Brett. I feel like I'm missing somebody along the way as well. Joe Conklin. Yeah, Joe Conklin. We had 6 dudes from the MAC or the Quad Cities-ish area. Those were the good old days, man. I loved that team, those couple years. Man, that was a bunch of fun. So it was fun to look back.
I was just worried that the show had gotten canceled because I kept looking for it last week and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I put up several times I was on vacation.
It's good to be back on all ears.
What was it? Somebody said that I should get a guest host. and just to have somebody go, that'd be great and fun. But like, I have to do all of this stuff as well. It doesn't just pop up. I don't have a producer sitting over there, so the technical side makes it different as well. Big Ten Media Day yesterday, I thought it was great for people from our area. Obviously, you're focused on Kirk Ferentz, but you're there today and tomorrow. You want to hear all the coaches speak. Bret, Kirk, and Matt Campbell back to back to back? Is that what it was? That's a heck of a way to start Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah, it was a good day to kind of listen to everybody, and as Steve Spurrier used to call it, this was talking season, which is the stage before we get to the real season or the preseason or the camps starting up. Like Iowa's going to report the players report Monday, and then Wednesday is the first day of practice when they'll be out on the practice field for the first time. There are a couple of days where they'll be just kind of in shorts and t-shirt kind of stuff, just doing some things. And then a couple of days later, they get to put the pads on for the first time. So that's when things will get decided. But it was good to talk to everybody. We heard from Tony Petitti yesterday, and that was really interesting given what's going on with the congressional, federal legislation that could or could not be happening. I just saw this morning that the Big Ten and the SEC are not going to meet that 9 a.m. deadline. It just seems like this thing is just not going to get done. And I kind of feel like it wasn't going to get done anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Let's focus on Iowa. Kirk Ferentz comes in there. It's not his first Big Ten Media Day. We joke a lot that, and I mentioned it with Pat the other day, that you'll go up on a Tuesday. I used to go more often. I don't go nearly as much as I used to, but I'd say if I'm not there, I'll talk to you in the afternoon and you'll attest. I'll say, what'd you learn? And you'll be like, man, it was Kirk. I mean, not much. He's not an open book. Obviously the quarterback competition is the big headline. We'll start with that. Obviously, he mentioned it's going to go for a while, maybe into the season. What did we learn about where we're at with the quarterback in the University of Iowa?
I had some fun with him about that too, because I joked with him and kind of questioned him about the quarterback thing, and I said, I remember back in like 08 after the Jay Christensen, Rick Stanzi thing, you swore that off. You said, I'm never going into a season without deciding a quarterback again. I'm one of the few people that's left that covered that season. Yeah. So it's like I remember when he said that and just kind of filed it away, and he just kind of, oh well, maybe we'll. It doesn't seem like it seems like he is open to kind of letting it play out, and I think there's a reason behind that. Because I think it's kind of the final box that they might want to check is, how do these guys perform when the lights are bright? You can do it in practice, you can do it in scrimmages, but how do you do when there's 70,000 fans screaming at you? And can you check that box and perform well in that situation? Or is it just, are we going to just make a decision? And it may become very evident during fall camp. Now, I've talked to some people who think it's probably going to be Hank Brown. I have also talked to a lot of people who think that Jeremy Heklinski is going to win the job. And there are people on both ends of it who I would trust, Yeah. So it's, I think camp decides it. We'll see. We got one of the most un-Kirk things ever yesterday, though, because he was asked about Tony Diaz.
Boogeyman.
It was kind of a boogeyman in this side session that we did with him after he got done being on the podium and everything. And we were going to do it earlier, but decided to do it later. And as most of the people here will know, Kirk is not one to hype someone up. He is just not that nature of, especially from a player who has, and let's make sure we understand this, never played it down at the University of Iowa. He has yet to play an official down, but he he's like, Tony Diaz loves to catch the football. And he brought up Bob Sanders liked to hit people and Marshall Yanda liked to block people. And when he brings up Bob Sanders and Marshall Yanda with Tony Diaz, I don't care what the freaking context is. I kind of went, whoa, okay, KF. That's but you just talk to people and he does things that some of the other receivers just don't do, that the receivers that they've had in the past just can't do, going up and getting the ball and attacking it and making people miss. The boogeyman is going to be somebody that I think Iowa fans are going to be pretty excited about.
Tom Kakert from the Hawkeye Report joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Tommy, before vacation, I talked to you one day, and you were like, I think it's going to be Hank Brown. And then I think Tyler Tashman was on a few days later, and he's like, Jeremy Kalinsky is the guy I think it's going to be. I don't know. And neither one said like, hey, you weren't sitting there saying it's going to be Hank. But like they were leaning that way and you were leaning that way. Is it going to be like that throughout the entire rest of the summer into the fall? Is it going to be are we hearing reports where it might be this guy one day, one by this guy? This is going to be fascinating to me because I really you hear about quarterback competitions and like they always say it's an open competition, but you kind of know. I don't think anybody knows right now, Tom. I don't think KF knows right now.
No, I don't think Tim Lester knows either. I don't think Billy Vandermark knows right now. I don't think that, Billy's a quarterback coach. I don't think he knows who it's going to be.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is it that they haven't separated themselves or they've both been okay or good?
They've both been good is what, what Billy told me on the podcast this summer and talking to Tim Lester too. He's like, they both were good in the spring. It's not like they were bad. Like it was like, we have to choose the lesser of two evils. It's not like that at all. It's like they feel like both of them have been pretty solid, but they haven't separated. So it's a coin flip. And I shouldn't say this because they haven't even started fall camp, but the feel I got from Kirk was, gosh, I think this is going into the season. And I didn't really, I thought Kirk would be like, any means necessary, we need to just make a decision. And then we can always flip to somebody else if we need to. And now I kind of feel like maybe they're going to play both guys in the first game and maybe the second game.
Yeah. It's funny because you look at the quarterback competition and I think if there was a team set, if they had a quarterback going in, things would be a little different when it comes to those important predictions, Tommy. We're going to toss up the media preseason poll that came out, I think, on Monday. And of course, and he's
always
in the poll. What's that?
I voted in this poll.
I guess my opinion is if Iowa had more certainty at quarterback, they would be above at least Washington, if not maybe one more. Am I wrong? I feel like obviously the question at quarterback is holding from the outside looking in. I think here locally and close to the team, I think people are more confident that one of these two guys are going to be good. But I think nationally, you don't know who the quarterback is. Your thoughts on, is that what's holding Iowa back a little bit? They're eighth. It's not like they're terrible. And then this poll in general, what do you like? What do you dislike? Is there somebody ranked too high, somebody ranked too low?
We'll start with that because I participated in this poll. And so I had a vote. And I had Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Indiana 3. Just you look at Oregon's schedule, it's easier than Ohio State's, other than Oregon has to go to Ohio State this year. But I think Oregon's defense is really good. The big question with Oregon is they lost both their coordinators. So how do they adjust to that? I think Penn State's too low. Penn State's got an easy schedule. Penn State could go 10-2 pretty easily. So I think SC might be a little high. You look at their schedule. Not a huge believer in Michigan yet. We'll see. So yeah, I think Iowa might be maybe a tick too low, but again, I would guess though that when Iowa goes to Washington, Washington might be favored. So you just kind of look at it that way. Um, yeah. Otherwise, I thought Wisconsin's got a really easy schedule too, and they could get healthy. Luke Fickell was trying his best to sell that this yesterday to the media that
Were you buying
everything is different. He sounded like a guy who was trying to convince himself of what he was saying.
That's never a good thing.
That's how it was. No. So it's,
is Illinois ranked too high? That's the one. And I'm not being an Illinois hater or anything like that. I just felt like.
Well, you're a fan.
Shut up. You look at like Minnesota, Nebraska, Wisconsin. I think the difference between those three, and maybe not Minnesota to an extent, but like if you put those all in a bag with Illinois, Illinois has the fact that they've actually done it and they've won 19 games the last 2 years. Nebraska thinks they're really good still, but they're not. I felt like Illinois was a little too high. I'm not saying overly too high, but I was surprised they were as high as they were. Is there anyone in the right column that you feel deserves to be in the left column?
You know what? Maybe Minnesota. I'm a little higher on Minnesota than most. I think they've got a pretty solid team. They got quarterback back. I think Darius Taylor, if he's healthy, is really good. So it might be the one that I would bounce over there ahead of Illinois. That might be the one thing. Now with Iowa, the one alarm bell that Kirk kind of sounded, I thought, was the defensive line. Seems very, I wouldn't say concerned, but I think searching for combinations, answers. Basically, they're going to play a lot of guys along the defensive line early in the year in particular. He's one thing that jumped out. He said there's nobody that's going to play like 500 snaps this year, which is kind of the Aaron Graves level. That's gone. That's not going to happen. So I think that was one of the things that kind of, I guess, jumped out at me was that. And offensive line. Keep an eye out on Cale Winter, kid who walked on a couple of years ago, kind of unheralded, won the Solon Hail Bay toss last week, and he is Kirk brought him up as a potential starting center. It's kind of wild to think about, but like Pieper is like almost like a consensus preseason All-American at center. He may not even play center. He may just stay at guard, and they may put Cale Winter at center and go with that. So that I think that's on the table as a possibility. We'll see how it shakes out, but Winter's making a case to be potentially the starting center, and then you keep Pieper at right guard, and it shores up that right side a little bit more because you got Pieper who he'll still be like an All-American level guard, but it's just kind of funny that everybody's kind of like Peep's going to center and that's how it is, and that might not be how it is. We'll see.
Tommy, you looked at it the other day. They came out with a mock draft for next year, and there's two Iowa offensive linemen in the first round of the draft. I had Trevor Locke at like 31 or something like that. Is there going to be, Tom, there has to be a drop off from last year, isn't there? Or is it like not as much as you would think, considering three dudes are playing in camps in the NFL right now and probably going to play some football this year on Sundays?
It might not be as big as you thought. Leighton Jones is really, really playing well, and he's doing really well. And I think what Lester said, he was playing as well as Bo Stevens was last year. So that left side, and Trevor and Leighton are really, really close friends, and they have a really good chemistry together on that side. So I think that's going to function really well. Winter or Pieper at center, that guard position. It could be Pieper, it could be Lucas Allgaier, and then you've got Dosler, who I think will be solid at right tackle. So, that's Kirk always says you need good like fifth-year stories, guys that kind of waited their turn. I always think of Ramon Ochoa back in the day, Razor Ramon, as we would call him, the bad guy. Yeah, hey Chico,
I love it.
Dotzler might be that story, guy who kind of comes out of nowhere. Kirk will always mention like a local guy for the Quad Cities, Ron Hallstrom from Moline, who was a guy who didn't start forever and got in there his last year and then ended up playing a long time in the NFL. So, those stories can always happen.
Any other tidbits from Iowa yesterday? I want to talk to you a little bit about the rest of the day before I let you get out of there. Any other tidbits, news or notes that kind of stuck with you? Obviously, people could watch the media session on Big Ten Network, but you guys got to talk to Kirk and the guys a little bit later on separately. Anything else that stands out from yesterday's big media day?
I'll go with some of the players, some highlights from those conversations. Addison Ostrenga got engaged, by the way.
Good for him.
Congrats to Addie.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's really high in that group, and DJ Vaname and Thomas Meyer had good things to say about Mason Woods too. So, I think that's a fun group, a deep group that's going to have some entertaining pieces to it. Jaden Montgomery is fun too. He had never bought a suit before.
No way.
He had to buy one for this thing. So he had to have his mom. He was taking pictures, sending them to his mom of the suits and which one he was going to get. And I said, you look good. You got a good fit. So he looked pretty good. Just, talking to him about, 5 years ago, could he have ever imagined that he'd be one of the 3 Iowa players there? And he was like, I could have never thought that was going to happen. So good story. He's really high on some of the guys coming up, the Buffingtons, the Preston Reese, Derek Wiskoff. He's got some good teammates there. It sounds like he's resigned himself to the fact that he's going to be playing the Carson Shire spot this year, and he's not going to be in the middle. And it's going to almost certainly be Cam, I would think.
Yeah.
And Lutmer, I asked Lutmer, I go, do you know where you're going to play this year? And he goes, nobody has told me yet. So he goes, I know I'll be out there. I just don't know where. I'm pretty sure it's going to be free safety. But he said Phil has not told him. But he basically kind of said, I'll go wherever they feel like the rest of the guys fit the best. The other 4 are the best, and then I can just fit in wherever. So we'll see what happens.
Who's returning kicks?
He's in the competition, particularly for punt return.
Yeah,
is what he said. I don't know about kickoff return. He might be in kickoff return too, but definitely punts. He's excited. He, in fact, he said last year, before Weegan was officially coming back, Weegan had told him, well, you're going to have to return punts. And he was all geared up to do it. And then Weegan came back, and the rest is, as they say, history.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest seasons ever. So,
man, it's right around the corner. Tom, the other guys yesterday, Matt Campbell, Bret Bielema, Bret, of course, poking the bear that it is the SEC a little bit. I know that stirred some. I think, and we're going to talk with Jim Mattson in the next segment about it, but I think what Bret does is calculated. It's smart. People are talking about Illinois football. He's not just a loose cannon that's out there just trying to say crazy things, and he's winning games. So 19 victories in 2 years speaks for itself. And then obviously Matt Campbell on the other side of Kirk. Was it surreal seeing Matt Campbell in a Penn State, whatever he was wearing, and the Penn State logo behind him?
It was just weird hearing him sing the praises of Penn State and the Big Ten, how it's the greatest conference to be in and everything. I was like, boy, this is surreal seeing Matt Campbell sing this after he's, I've heard the hooray for Ames from him for so many years. And I know Doc talked to him about his the the Ames food desert thing a little bit, and he goes, "Boy, I really stepped in that one, didn't I?" When
Yeah.
he kind of made a comment about Ames not having great places to eat and everything. And yeah, I didn't really talk to Beals at all. Just kind of, I said hi to him in the hallway in the morning, so that was about it. But he loves to stir, what up. I mean, that's just how he is. Loves to have
He
a little
reminds
fun.
me of his old head coach.
He likes
when
poking bears.
Yeah, he mentioned being there as a player with Hayden Fry.
Oh, yeah.
And then he talks about that. It's just like, man, like there's a little Hayden Fry in that guy, if that makes any sense. Am I right?
Oh yeah. He likes to poke every once in a while. Rattle some cages.
You're gonna head downstairs here in a little bit. What is on your radar today? Day 2 was Wednesday. There's a day tomorrow. You're going to be there for all 3. What's on your radar today? Who are you most intrigued to talk to or with today?
Oh, probably. We'll get to hear from PJ Fleck to start the day, so it'll be shot out of a cannon.
Row, baby.
Be rowing that boat. I'm going to talk to Pat Fitzgerald, wearing his Sparty green, which is going to be kind of different, and hopefully he doesn't say "Go Cats" at the end of his speech, like he did every other year. And yeah, it'll be. I want to talk to Fitz because he spent a lot of time around the Iowa program last year.
Is his son with him now?
No, his son is in Iowa City still.
Still in Iowa City. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
He's still on the Iowa roster. Yeah. And I want to talk to him about what he learned being around the Iowa program last year, because he was around it a lot, and things that he learned that maybe he's applying to what he's doing this year as a coach during his quote unquote sabbatical for a year.
Yeah, no, it'll be fascinating to know. Before I let you go, dinner last night with Joe Conklin, delicious. How was it? Where'd he take you? Those kind of things.
Huh?
Didn't you had dinner with Joe Conklin last night? It was the thing. It's all over my text thread. He didn't bail on you again, did he?
Did get to go to the Billy Goat with some of the On3 people, so it was awesome.
Yeah, that's
Drinking
a
some
nice
old
consolation
style.
prize.
Old style.
It's so the Billy
Watch
Goat.
the Cubs.
Is that Billy Goat? Is that no fries chips?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there. I just want to make sure I knew what I was talking about. So just to reiterate, hope no Joe.
I don't know who he is.
This makes me so happy. By the way, Friday on the show, here on OTA, off the air, not AE.
On all airs?
Luke Barnwell, assistant coach for Iowa.
Oh, awesome.
Going to be live with us at 10:30 on Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. My Friday show is it's so all over the place. Luke Barnwell, Iowa basketball, fascinating stuff. SummerSlam preview with Don Umland and company. It's 2 different worlds, but I'm excited to catch up with Luke Barnwell. It should be fun.
Awesome.
I don't really know him very well.
People.
I've heard a bunch of great things from you about him, so looking forward to. I was going to try to chat with Josh Sash, and he's on vacation, and not that he's a consolation prize, but Luke Barnwell, that'll work. That'll do well. So, again, the Hawkeye Report is where it's at. Tom's on social media. Catch him there, but then also the HawkeyeReport.com. It's coming quickly, Tom. Any deals or previews going on at the Hawkeye Report you can sell us on before we let you go?
I think we still got the $1 for the first week, and you can jump on, and I'm sure we've got some special that I don't know about. But,
I put you on the spot. No, it's great.
It'll be great.
No, it's awesome. Go downstairs, get some food, enjoy the day. We'll talk to you soon, pal. See you for SummerSlam this weekend.
Yes.
All right. See you, buddy. That is Tom Kakert joining us right here on Off There with Matt Randazzo. A lot going on. He does a great job covering that stuff. But we watch on TV with the Big Ten Network the actual press conferences are like 15 minutes, but then the media gets these guys afterwards, and I think that's where you find a lot of the good stuff that Tom just mentioned. If he's talking about Tony Diaz, if Kirk's talking about Tony Diaz and bringing up Bob Sanders and Marshall Yanda in the same breath, I'm in. Chips are all in when it comes to the boogeyman and Tony Diaz. So coming up after the break, we talked Iowa. We're going to get the Illinois perspective of things. Jim Mattson will join us to talk about Bret Bielema and the fact that he is, he's poking the Bears, and he's not the Bears in Chicago, but the Bear, if you will, and stirring up a little controversy at Big Ten Media Days. That and much more. You're watching OTA. It's a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Of course, Big Ten Media Day taking center stage the next 3 days. Started yesterday, today, and tomorrow up in Chicago as Big Ten football and college football right around the corner. And the crazy thing for us here in the Quad Cities in this area was it was almost like one-stop shopping yesterday. It was Bret Bielema, Kirk Ferentz, Matt Campbell after that. It was the interesting guys were all right there. And so it had a lot of people talking, of course, when it comes to the Hawkeyes and the Illini as well. Here to talk a little more about those Fighting Illini, our good friend Jim Mattson from down in Peoria. First and foremost, how's your summer, young man? How's the golf game? That's the important thing.
I've had my moments. I can't put together an 18-hole score anymore, but I've had some nice birdies. I've had some nice moments. I'm actually hitting the ball okay, but I can't play 18 holes anymore. I'll put an 8 or a 9 on the board or an X, or I put more X's on the board than I've ever in my life. So a lot of times I'll shoot 82 because I only add 16 scores.
There you go. Well, that's the thing too, is the birdies is what gets you coming back. It's that one or two shots.
I've gone to that.
I got to go to the next day and do this again. A lot to chat with you about. Obviously Big Ten Media Day is going on, all three of them, but I mentioned, man, it was great for us, for the Quad Cities. If you just turned on Big Ten Network yesterday, it was Coach Ferentz, or Coach Bielema, Coach Ferentz, Matt Campbell, of course, from Iowa State. Bret Bielema leads this thing off. And my first impression is man, I just think back to 6 years ago and Illinois football, it didn't register too much, not people. And here's Bret at the very beginning stealing headlines right off the bat by referencing the SEC and saying they want to live in 2005 forever. and everybody's talking right away. Before we get into that comment, Bret, just PR-wise, has changed Illinois football, hasn't he?
He really, I mean, it's funny because at times early on, I was like, well, I wish Bielema would get off Twitter. I wish he'd stop engaging this way. But it's been good for Illinois. I mean, Illinois has been an absolute afterthought in your thought and on the field and on the scoreboard and in the standings. And Bielema's kind of changed all of that. I mean, I think people were excited to hear what Bielema had to say and to see if he was going to jab the SEC. And he's kind of made Illinois relevant and interesting and funny. And, he's embraced social media probably better than I have. I think he handles it really, really well. And he has put Illinois out there. You know, there's 18 teams here, and people are talking about Illinois, which is crazy because normally you don't talk about Illinois at Big Ten Football Media Day, but because of their wins 19 in 2 years, because Bielema was kind of funny and jabbing a little bit, he's put Illinois on the map for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Well, that's the funny thing is because it's not like he's just going out there saying crazy things to get attention and it doesn't match on the field. I mean, the 19 victories in 2 seasons kind of speaks for itself in what is the best conference in college football right now. It's not like he's doing it in a down conference. No. It's the best conference in college football. I'll go too with like the recklessness isn't there. I mean, you go back to the bowl game and the making the gesture. I mean, it's calculated, right? It's not like he's not like just a crazy man saying whatever he thinks. Right. And it's funny because Jim, he mentioned going to Big Ten Media Days as a player back in 1991. He mentioned his head coach, Hayden Fry, brought him there. I'm not saying he's Hayden Fry, but I feel like he learned a little bit of that nudging and using the media to his advantage from Hayden Fry maybe back in the day. It's calculated, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think there's any doubt he was planning on saying the SEC's living in 2005. I mean, I think he went there knowing he was going to say that. I remember the first time I had him on my radio show. I mean, I don't think it didn't matter what questions I asked. He knew what he was going to say. And it was like it was almost political stumping. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was going to say, here's why Illinois should be relevant. Here's why Illinois is going to win. We're going to recruit Illinois. And he went on and on and on. And I was like, wow, he's just going down a checkboard. And it was kind of that way, at Big Ten Media Day. He mentioned Illinois' fourth in wins over the last 3 years and fourth in ranked wins. And, but he certainly was, it's very calculated. I don't think he says anything that he's not planning on saying long before the questions come.
Well, it's funny because obviously he was asked follow-up questions later in the day, and he explained what he meant. And you look at the last 3 years, NIL and the transfer portal has changed college sports and college football. It seems like the Big Ten's doing okay. 3 straight national champions. When you look at that, though, he does such a good job with those kind of changes in time. And then you just go to look a few days ago. Maybe a great example is the logo patch, where Illinois is already embracing that. They're embracing the renaming of the stadium. He puts his money's where his mouth is, no pun intended. Illinois has done a good job of evolving with the rest of the Big Ten, haven't they?
Well, very much so. I mean, it's funny because you mentioned, when he came 6 years ago, how do you get out of the basement? How do you turn this program around? Now the questions are, how do you go from a contender to the top? And that's all Bielema. I mean, Bielema has put the recruits in there and has put the right people in there. And, even when people ask him about Kaden Hauser, well, my first transfer quarterback was Russell Wilson. That worked out pretty good. He can talk the talk and walk the walk a little bit. My first transfer quarterback here is Tommy DeVito. He's playing in the NFL. Luke Altmaier, I think he's going to make the Lions, in some capacity, whether it be the practice squad or whatever. I mean, he can kind of, like you said, he's just not throwing things out there. If Illinois was in last place for the last 5 years, Bielema wouldn't be at that press conference. He'd be long gone. But he has changed the perspective of Illinois football and the place of Illinois football. Now people are thinking Illinois should be in that 2014 playoff if we ever get one, or maybe 12-team playoff or whatever. And that was a pipe dream when Bielema took over.
No, it's amazing. Jim Mattson joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Let's look at the team itself. I want to get to the patches thing in a second, and that was the day before. But the team itself, there is a big question of quarterback. You mentioned Luke Altmaier. He's impressing at minicamp with the Lions. They start training camp today. But it is the first time in a while that you haven't known that commodity. I don't know if we'll know until we see Kaden Hauser on the field a little bit. Is that the biggest question? Does this go as if he's a good quarterback, like Illinois is fine, or is there more to it than that?
Well, I think there's probably, three questions. The rebuilt offensive line. Again, Bielema really worked hard in the portal and brought in players with a lot of playing experience, not at the Big Ten level, but a lot of playing experience. The 3-3-5 on defense, a little bit, I'm a firm, I'd rather have, a whole bunch of great defensive linemen and linebackers, but Illinois has kind of become DBU, and this is a defensive back kind of driven speed defense. So I think there's questions about that, but certainly, Matt, there's no doubt that if Katin Houser's not good, Illinois is in trouble. If Katin Houser's not one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten, Illinois has got no chance to be one of the better teams in the Big Ten. But again, I give Bielema a lot of credit. He went out and got Tommy DeVito very early in the portal. He went out and got Luke Altmaier very early in the portal. He went out and got Katin Houser pretty early in the portal. I mean, when he sees what he wants, he doesn't do a lot of shopping for quarterbacks. He kind of knows what he wants, and he goes and gets a guy. And his track record's been really good in Illinois, and I assume Houser's going to be pretty good.
And that's the thing you mentioned, Jim, is sometimes you just have to trust people that are smarter than you.
Yeah.
If you're a fan and a guy continues to draft correctly or in the pros or recruit correctly, I think that's what Iowa fans has found. Iowa fans don't care if he's a 2-star, 3-star, 5-star. Right. If Kirk Ferentz and company wants him, there's probably the fan base should want them as well. Isn't it kind of the same thing now, especially with the transfer portal with Bret Bielema? If Bret wants him, especially like you mentioned early in the process, it's probably for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I said the other day on my radio show that I think without a doubt the thing that links Brad Underwood and Bret Bielema is talent evaluation. I mean, they have really swung really well in the transfer portal, where other schools are missing on the chemistry component or missing on the talent component. Those guys have hit home runs, and that's why, Illinois, I think one of the first questions at Big Ten Media Day was Illinois in the golden age. And you stop to think about it, and they kind of are, especially if you throw the women's basketball in there. I mean, it's about as good as it's been. And I think talent evaluation is something that Bielema, yes, you got to give him a lot of credit. And until it fails, you got to trust him, I think.
No, absolutely. Jim Mattson joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. You mentioned DBU, and here in the Quad Cities, there's a young man, Matthew Bailey, that's down there that his story was awesome from the jump, and he's had some hurdles when it's come to injuries, but under-recruited, overlooked, and by all accounts, and I gotten to know him a little bit as well. Fantastic human being, really good football player.
Yeah.
How good does I don't want to say how good does he have to be his senior season. That defense needs a leader, and I think Matthew can be that guy. But I feel like I don't want to say it's the end of the journey in football because I think he can play on Sundays, but his story is a lot of fun. Boy, it sure would be nice to see that last chapter at Illinois be a special one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he stays healthy the whole year. He's going to be a good player. He's got the smarts. He's got the instincts. He is kind of I don't know him as well as you do, but boy, when you interview him, he sounds like a born leader. He talks so well about the team. He talks about team first. I mean, he's a credit to Moline. He's just a great young man. And, I mean, what a story. Those are the kind of stories, Matt Randazzo was a last-second recruit. Matthew Bailey, a last-second recruit. That's kind of what I go by talent evaluation. When everyone else is looking around, Bielema says, offer the kid. And Bailey's been good almost from day one. The stage has almost never been too big for him. Big stage, Big Ten's never been too big for him. And I think he will play Sunday football. But, I think, embrace what you are. And, DBU, they're recruiting at a high level defensive backs. Devin Witherspoon's about to be the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. The Joseph kid at Detroit's the highest paid safety. I mean, embrace who you are. And if you can get 5 really good defensive backs on the field, it's gonna help you. So like I said, I'd rather have 5 really good defensive linemen or 5 run stuffers, but embrace who you are. And right now, Illinois has done a great job with DBU, and Matthew Bailey is going to be kind of an all Big Ten type guy. I think if he stays healthy and has a great year. All
those guys you mentioned, they all have really good stories, and I think Matt Randazzo is another guy that's going to have a really good story. And Jim, I think you know this. I'm going to call him Sean Considine, but it's Caden Considine. It's not his old man, but they got a good one. I mean, Jim, they got a good. I think he's going to be really, really good. Obviously there's a lot of talent and depth to go through, but I don't think it's going to be like 5 years from now or 4 years from now he's going to be good. He's going to be playing quicker than I think we think. He's a good one, isn't he?
Well, you're right. He follows the Randazzo. He follows the Bailey. you go to a game on Friday night, you're like, boy, that kid stands out. That kid is a different level. And that's exactly what Considine was. He was a different level. And I always like the guys who the stage isn't too big for him. The bigger the game, the better that kid played. The better the competition, the better that kid played. And let's see him on the big stage in the Big Ten. Those are the kids you probably should be taking a chance on. And Illinois has done a great job recruiting those young men.
We had some guy that doesn't know nearly as much about football that you do. Pat Anger was on the show on Monday, and he brought up the predictions, and they bring them out every year. And he brought up that, like, hey, it's Ohio State this year, but last year it was Penn State, and they weren't very good. And
right.
Indiana was sixth, and they ended up winning it. I want to throw the predictions, the media poll, up on the screen for us right now. I kind of talked about it the other day, but looking at it, obviously there's Iowa and Illinois, and they finally play, thank Jesus.
Right.
They play each other this year, 8 and 9. I guess your thoughts maybe on Illinois before we get into a few other things on this thing. Is Illinois under predicted, over predicted, valued just right? Your thoughts as you look at this media poll?
Yeah, I think it's about right. Like I said, I think there's legitimate concerns. How good's the O-line? How good is the defense going to be? Is the quarterback going to be, there's some good quarterbacks with Sayin and with Moore at the top of that list. And I mean, there's some really good quarterbacks ahead of them, the quarterback at USC. I mean, so I thought Illinois would be somewhere between 8 and 11. So 9 is obviously between 8 and 11. And, what's funny about that is Illinois only plays 2 of the top 7, but it's Ohio State and Oregon, and they play them early.
Yeah.
But outside, when I looked at the Illinois schedule, I was like, Ohio State, they're going to be a decided underdog. Oregon, they're going to be an underdog. Purdue, they're going to be a big favorite. I think just about every other game's a coin flip.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a big difference between number 5 Michigan and number 16 Michigan State. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think those teams are all probably going to be a field goal favorite, field goal underdog. There's going to be a lot of really close games. And, one thing Luke Altmaier was great at was winning those close games. I think Illinois 7-1 the last 2 years in one-score games. Can that magic continue? Can they find ways to win? And, for Bielema, a lot of times it's find ways not to lose, let the other team lose. Can they continue that trend? But it's an interesting poll. It's a really good Illinois team and they're ranked 9th. A really good Iowa team and they're ranked 8th. I mean, it just shows you the power of the Big Ten. It's crazy.
Is there a team on there that surprises you where they are?
Not especially. I think USC could potentially be very good. I really like their quarterback and the players they have coming back. No, I mean, I think we're giving Underwood and Michigan and Michigan's new coach a lot of credit because I don't think they've been the 4th or 5th best team in the Big Ten. I really don't. So maybe they're a little overrated in my eyes, but nothing really jumps out at me.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like I said, I just don't think there's a lot of difference between 5 and 15. I think you can shuffle them almost any way you want. I think Purdue's the worst, and I think Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon are the best, and USC I think is really good. Outside of that, it's kind of heads or tails to me.
I got in trouble on yesterday's show because and this isn't. They could be 9, they could be 7, they could be 6, whatever. There's just so many questions about Illinois. I thought they were a little high. I thought, you look at Minnesota on that list and Wisconsin on that, Nebraska, but there's the difference is if you have Nebraska who thinks they're good, but they haven't been good since the 80s, and you have Illinois that you don't think is very good, but actually if you go look, they got 19 wins the last 2 years. I think when you get to those kind of, and I think it's the quarterback. Like I think with Iowa, if Iowa had Mark Gronowski, a proven commodity coming back, if Illinois had Luke Altmaier. Now, obviously, those are 2 really good guys that are on NFL rosters right now or in NFL training camps. But I think if we get through the first part of the season and we see it's pretty good, those predictions could go up and up. Can you explain the patch thing before I let you get out of here? It happened 2 days ago. Obviously, Illinois is going to get some money. They're going to have a patch on their jersey. Just another way that they're continuing to be forward thinking. If that makes any sense.
Well, the season tickets are sold out for football. I'm sure they're going to sell out for basketball. They've kind of maximized that money. Obviously, they're raking in media rights money with all the TV packages. They had a terrific year for licensing merchandise with all the Final Four gear they sold. The fourth way you make money is kind of corporate sponsorship. And I don't know how big Busey Bank is in the Quad Cities. They have really grown in Peoria and become a real factor in Central Illinois, in my area of Peoria. So it's kind of a natural tie. And, you felt great about it. And then you hear Ohio State sells for $17 million, Notre Dame sells for $20 million. But still, that's a big avenue of money right there, $6 million a year. And I think, Josh Whitman kind of talked about it when he met with the media in June. He kind of said that's an avenue they have to do more with is corporate sponsorship because, you're pretty tapped in now with, you can't get a whole lot more from the tickets. You can't get a whole lot more from the media rights short term anyway. So that was a big, that's a big selling thing. We're going to see that, I'm sure people are going to mispronounce Busey Bank all over the Midwest. The Bussy Bank or whatever it is that. Yeah. But people will Google it, look it up. We all know Culver's in Wisconsin, but Busey Bank will get a lot of bang for their buck, I'm sure.
Well, it's funny because you look at the Big 12. I think a few years ago they did this, and they did it as a conference, and now each team gets like $1 million.
Right.
And you look at Illinois, they're getting 6 times that, which I think is I'm just waiting for the black and yellow John Deere logo that they put on the field last year at Carver Hawkeye midway through the season. Not Carver Hawkeye, but Kinnick Stadium. Maybe be on the Iowa patch sometime soon. I know you got to get running before I let you go. Fridays are coming quickly. If you know what I mean. We're like this Friday's 3 weeks until the start. I don't know if I've talked to you about it. I've talked to Greg Armstrong, doesn't like it. Mitch, I'm not a big fan of everything. I've talked to, Chris Dewars, those type of, you feel old school to me. Do you like the changes when it comes? That's the nice way of saying you're old. Your thoughts on the changes?
I don't like the early start. I mean, if I'm correct, high school teams are going to play 4 games before the NFL plays 1.
Yeah.
About half the season is going to be over before the Bears kick off. I think that's weird. I think playing twice as many games in the heat of August is weird. Extending a week of practice in August is weird. I'm old enough to remember when 6-3 didn't get you in the playoffs. So we lowered the bar there, and then we lowered the bar to 5-4. So we have lowered the bar. I will tell you, I kind of am a fan of district football, and we have certain teams in Central Illinois that it's almost impossible for them to get 5 wins. They're a small school in a big conference, and they get to be 1-3, 0-4, and the kids kind of give up. Well, now I think there is a reason for those teams to keep playing. I think there's some positives of letting more teams in the playoffs, but no, I don't like it.
let me tell you, think about this. Okay, so week 1's the 21st. And then week 2 is the 28th. So you already got 2 games in August, which I don't think it's the first time we've done 2 games in August, I think, with things. But if 2 wins gets you in the playoffs, are you celebrating the locker room on August 28th because you're a playoff team? That seems weird, doesn't it?
Well, and I've had a lot of high school coaches say, what do we do with our playoff board?
Yeah.
Do we honor a 3-6 team up against 20 years of making the playoffs with a 6 wins record? Or, But the NCAA is letting you play 5 years. What do we do with the records there? It's hard to be old, Matt. It's hard to be. It's hard to remember. It's hard to remember the good old days. Change is really, really hard for me.
You got to remember, Jim, when you complain about these things, I agree with everything you're saying. So if you're old, I'm getting there too, which is an okay thing. Hey, I always appreciate your time. We'll catch up again real soon. We'll talk high school football, college football, all of those things. Good luck on the golf course. We'll catch up soon, buddy.
See you, man.
All right. That is Jim Mattson joining us here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Obviously, I say this every time, one of the best in the business. Talking Illinois football. Bret Bielema was interesting yesterday. He's always interesting. He's always an open book, and he's always calculated when it comes to what he's saying as well. And let's go back 5-6 years ago. I watched Rutgers yesterday, and Greg Schiano was up there talking. I didn't care. Bret Bielema was up there talking, and I care. And I used to feel like that way about Illinois when it comes to Rutgers, and you don't feel that way anymore. So he's winning on the field, and he's calculatedly, if that's a word, he's making calculated statements off the field. We got a little more to get to. You're watching OTA. It's a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. If you need help with your heating or air conditioning,
or electrical,
or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities. and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. It's been a busy week, back from vacation, back to work, if you will, and it's going to be a busy time coming up. We've talked about a lot this week, but when August gets here, the football gets here, the shows get bigger and bigger. We're going to be doing our live show from Iowa Football Media Day on August 14th. August 9th on Sunday is the, a couple Sundays from now, is the kickoff party with the boys from View from the West. So a lot going on, and we haven't caught up with, well, it's August, but I guess Santa Claus joins us from the North Pole. Johnny, there's a damn Christmas tree over your shoulder. Can you explain?
Again, outside my office is noisy. I couldn't hear myself think. I didn't want to go in the gym and bother the people working, so don't laugh, but I'm inside a closet where a storage facility.
Yeah.
And trying to get some things done. But hey, look, you're welcome to come swim at my house anytime, but I guess it's not going rapids, whitewater rafting. So I guess I'm not cool enough anymore.
Johnny, I tell you what,
I'm glad you had a great time, pal.
And we mentioned too, like, I say this jokingly and my kids love me, but like my kids aren't the most adventuresome kids in the world, if that's a word, but like, they did stuff and they made me do stuff over the break and over the vacation that I wouldn't have done. I love roller coasters, and I'm riding a roller coaster, a big old roller coaster with a 9-year-old. And I'm like, when I was 9, like I couldn't get to an amusement park. Well, let's go on a roller coaster. So I'm very proud of them. We had a blast. It was a great time.
Good for you.
A bunch of stuff I want to chat with you about today.
Okay.
I think we're going to start with something we missed last week because of the vacation and those kind of things. We both love Charles Jagosal, one of the best people we've gotten to be around, offensive lineman at Notre Dame. And for people who don't know, before last season, Charles had a ATV accident and had some surgeries done, missed last season. And word came last week that he won't start training camp with Notre Dame. And you can see the quote there that from the head coach of Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, that I do believe that he will be here with us at some point. I don't know when, actually. If asked for me to bet, I would hope that it was this season at some point, but I don't know though. Your thoughts? Were everybody's pulling for Charles? It was a serious injury that happened.
Whoa.
Your thoughts on Charles as he moves on his football career?
Just the simple fact that he is back doing from the initial the injury itself, and back doing football things, Matt, just is phenomenal. I believe 2 corrective surgeries with some nerve issues, and then there was infection. He had surgeries that had to clean that stuff up as well. So the physicians when it happened out west, and then the Notre Dame physicians, I applaud them. I don't know, haven't talked, I don't know anything about that other than to play his position and to be first of all, he has the greatest feet that you'll ever see of any person 6'7". Bottom line, and we could see that when he was a freshman in high school and I got to coach him. The neat thing about it is to play his position, you must need that punch strength and that grip strength. And I'm not a doctor, and I believe that's part of the issue. And I again don't have any wherewithal or knowing anything about it. I think that's what they're going to make sure. And when he's 100%, then Notre Dame will put him on the field. As Coach Freeman said, when that comes is entirely up to Charles's body and the doctors. But it is a loss because he is phenomenal. And you and I know this, and thank goodness Tom Kakert's around. We knew, I always thought that he would play in the NFL, but he's a first day guy, Matty, a first 25 guy if he's 100%. So you have to be careful with that. And I think you'll see him in a Notre Dame uniform when, like Coach Freeman said, I don't know, but what you pull for someone is as fantastic as he is.
Absolutely. It's funny. Another thing we did out there was when ATVing on some sand dunes in Oregon, and that stuff. I mean, I thought about him when I got on it because we had been a few years earlier at Pismo Beach and then went again. And it's a lot. And so to overcome those kind of things. And you mentioned it, after his season where he got back healthy, played in the bowl game, not bowl game, but the national semifinals, whatever it was.
Semifinal.
And played so well. There were mock drafts already for the next season that had him in the first round of the NFL draft. I mean, not all of them, and they're mock drafts a year out and those type of things. But the expectations, you mentioned 6'7", the way he moves, the big kid that he is, he looks the part of an NFL player. How is it to balance? I've never had the injuries to the extent of this and at that level, but he's been through it. He had an injury before, gets healthy, and then he's dealing with this, and it's going to take some time. Can you, what is he dealing with? And we're only speculating, but mentally that's got to be a grind as well.
Here's the beautiful thing about it at that level. I've never seen, Jackson never got hurt. So I've never seen anybody have to deal with that one-on-one. But he's surrounded by only, it's Notre Dame. So it's got to be one of the greatest medical teams. It's like having the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics next door. So you're dealing with some of the finest in the world. So I'm sure for Notre Dame football to be good, they'd love to have Charles Jagasaw on playing every day. So they're going to take their time and make sure that. But it is a grind, Matt. When you're that gifted and you have, he's so team oriented and such a great dude. And I say dude because I can't call him a kid anymore. But I could call him a kid as a freshman, and because he wrestle with you and throw you around. And there's the other thing. I thought if he didn't play football, he'd be a Division I national champion wrestler. So, again, it's a grind, though. Even when things are going good, Matty, and you're around, you can, from your experiences being around the Iowa players every Wednesday with what you do, those guys, they're taking first of all, they're practicing in the morning. And you got to be a day starts at 5:15 if people don't have any idea what a college football player's life is, and it ends at 11. And that's practice early, school, whatever film work, and then you have team meetings, and then you're back to wherever your living facility is in the neighborhood of 11 o'clock. And again, I can tell you from firsthand experience, I know one person who slept in a facility several nights because he was too tired to go home. Yeah. So it's a grind for him. because he wants to play so badly. But if there is something at the end of the rainbow, is you're surrounded by one of the greatest medical teams on the planet, and they know what's best.
Yeah, absolutely. Charles Jugglesall is one of the nicest young men you're ever going to meet. We've talked about that already. Notre Dame hasn't given up on him by any stretch of the imagination. I guarantee you he hasn't given up on himself, and the Quad Cities has that kid's back as well. So we wish him the best. We'll be watching, we'll be rooting, all of those kind of things as we move on. Johnny, I want to talk to you. Earlier this week, we had Chase is his dad, Cullen Schweigen on the show. Really
Absolutely.
Good kid. Rewritten record books, Rock Ridge already, and going to continue to do that this fall. I'm sure you've called some of his games at MC22 or been on the call for some of them. Western Illinois is getting a really good football player. I was surprised to find out, like in the interview that we did, that like it might not be quarterback, it might be linebacker or safety or tight end. Just your thoughts of that young man. He's still got 1 year left, but it's always great. I love watching good young people from the Quad Cities write that ticket to the next level, if that makes any sense.
And you mentioned when you and I were talking off the air, Matt, you said something, and I'm not knocking Western at all. It's a journey. His football journey, I don't think is going to end there. With all due respect, I think. Excuse me, I'm surprised though, Matty, that it's a linebacker. He might be. I thought he'd be a force guy he's as good a quarterback. I know he's not that prototypical tall. That's the one thing. If he was 2 more inches taller, he'd be playing maybe on Sundays because he throws the ball. First of all, the first thing you notice about Cullen, and a great dude, but he's tough. I mean, he takes a backseat to nothing, and not afraid of a hit, not afraid to stand in the pocket, but knows the game really well. Those are what you notice. Tough kid. If they see him as a standout Mike or a Sam somewhere, I don't think him in the middle. I think he'd be a force guy. He's so tough, so strong. He's not afraid to put his nose. If that's where they see him, fine. But I would not close the door. And I'm not a Division I football coach. I wouldn't close the door on this kid throwing football. Or if you put him on the offensive side, you put his hand in the dirt and you make him that other tight end. He could play safety, I think, tomorrow at that level and be really, really good at it. But I sure love watching him play quarterback. So, again, we talk about it, and I keep saying it. They know more than I do and what they project him to be. But, I don't know. I'm so used to watching him stand in the pocket and take off when things aren't right or make sure that he can lead his club on, which doesn't happen, a 75-yard drive in high school football. So I'm used to that. But I, with all due respect to Western Illinois, I think his ceiling is here, and the FCS level is phenomenal. I actually see him someday at the FBS level.
Yeah, no, he's a good kid, really good football player. I remember that first game that he got into as a freshman. He started against Newman, I want to believe, threw a pick six.
Phenomenal.
And everybody was like, uh-oh. And then after that, he just like it was like a little blip in the radar, and then he's been really, really good ever since. I do want to mention,
has no conscience.
We'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow on the show, but the Rock Ridge football family, football community, just community in general, rallying behind Drew Hawk right now. A young man had a swimming accident in Des Moines, last I heard, with spinal surgeries and those type of things. We'll talk more about it tomorrow on the show, but thoughts and prayers go out to Drew Hawk, the family. My sister and brother-in-law and nieces know the family probably more than I do. Charlie works with Drew down at the Hinman Complex as well, so we'll talk more about it, but that's scary stuff that you hate to see happen, Johnny.
That's that one phone call we all never. I mean, as parents, we send our children out to enjoy and have a great time, and you never want to experience that. He played for the Milan Legion team too. A tough kid, does everything right. Great kid. So again, you just have to let the medical teams take care of things, and that is a great family, great people. So I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope that message you share tomorrow, Matty, is nothing but positive, and and he can go forward.
Absolutely. And I know that the community's planning things, trying to figure out ways to help the family.
They've already responded, man. Amazing.
We're going to make sure we use this little platform that we have to help out
Please
any way
do.
we can as well. Before I let you get out of here, Big Ten Media Days, we've talked about it throughout the show. I want to throw this up. It's the Big Ten predictions from the media, because the media is always right, Johnny? On this, you have Iowa.
Never put on a jock in their lives.
You have Iowa at 8-9. Does anything stand out to you when you look at this? Is there a team that's in your mind too low? Is there a team in your mind that's too high? Obviously, Iowa and Illinois sitting there at 8-9, and when you and I were growing up, you'd hear like Iowa's picked to 8th in the Big Ten, and you'd be like, "What the hell? That's a terrible." But you look at their 18 teams, and they're in the middle of the pack or the upper part of the Big Ten. Anything stand out to you when you look at these media predictions?
I would flip. I'd flip Iowa and Washington, and I would flip Penn State and Michigan. I think there's too much disarray going on in Michigan. Ohio State, obviously, we know that. Oregon, Indiana. I'm sure Coach Cignetti was not happy with being third, since he's got a big old ring on his finger now. Minnesota, we had a really good recruiting class, and getting the Wallace kid from Iowa City is a bonus to them. You know what? Nebraska fans will be upset that they're not in the front 10, but hey, all this plays out, Maddie. If you take 1 through 10, 11, and 12 from the Big Ten, that fills out a lot of the bowl type situations. And again, Illinois should be excited that they're in rated 9th, but I'm still, and you and we get lambasted for being homers. Huge Bret Bielema fan, never count him out. And that the dude that's been doing it a while in Iowa City, class act, never count him out. He'll lay in the weeds on with the best of them, and those kids by the middle of the year they got a tough start, first 3 in the Big Ten after 3. I think winnable games to start the season, but Ohio State's always the big dog at the top, and that's okay. And Oregon has everything and every gun under the sun waiting to come at you. But the thing about Oregon every year, as good as they are, they always make one mistake. There's always one weekend where, and it's normal for college football and dealing with young people, but I think there's a mistake in there. And Lincoln better think that they picked that USC. What, they have 4th, 5th?
Yeah.
Better hope that
4th.
Okay. Well, he's on the hot seat, so you better come up big boy.
Yeah, and this will make Illinois fans upset, but if I'm an Illinois fan, I'm happy at 9. There's question marks behind quarterback. They've lost a lot. But like you mentioned, Bret, here's the thing: is the difference between 9 and 11, which is Illinois and Nebraska, is Illinois has 19 victories over the last 2 seasons. Nebraska hasn't been good since like you were a kid. So that's it's been a minute. So
there's still 90,000 people who think they're good.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And their press box is full of media members that think they're amazing as well and cheer them along the way every single week. Last but not least, Cubs beat the Cardinals last night. I'm not here as a Cub fan to make fun of a Cardinal fan. That's just okay. Where are you with the Cardinal? And under 500 now. I know it was approached probably as a rebuilding year with a youth movement. They played well early, leveled off right now under 500. Where are you right now as a Cardinal fan?
Can't put the ball in play. Now, I think McGreevy is an arm to build around. They have 1,000 trade chips that they're going to use and Hayne Bloom has a plan. I applaud the signing of JJ Weatherholt and using him much the way the Cubs did. And Nico Horner, I told you this, Matt, is my favorite player in the game. Yeah. So I love the way the Cubs signed he and Pete Crow Armstrong. I think they overpaid for Bregman. That's another team. Burleson is a guy that you can use as a centerpiece. Jordan Walker, eventually you're going to have to pay. You have to see what year 2 of the Jordan Walker change is. They have arms at the young level. So I think Riley O'Brien gets traded. I think Lars Nootbaar gets traded. they turned the catching over to the Crooks kid, and he's hitting the butt. They can't put the ball in play, Matty. Mason Wynn is a great defender and couldn't hit it. I mean, he's 240. Come on. So you've got to get more out of your shortstop position. And I think it kind of upset him that they signed Weatherholt forever. They have arms and as I said, in the system, and they're going to turn that over. They'll trade Dustin May and get a couple more young players out of that. Cardinal fans should have been excited in June or in May and early June. It's only 2.5 out of the wild card, which is BS because they're fading fast, and it annoys me to all end because you should never say the word rebuild with the St. Louis Cardinals, who are always that organization. The Cubs can spend. The Ricketts have the money. They know it. The world knows it, and they spend. And I thought Theo Epstein was a genius all those years. Jed Hoyer's a pretty smart guy. Haim Bloom, after John Mozeliak, let things kind of deteriorate better. The fan base in St. Louis doesn't put up with mediocrity, Matty. So they better make it right. And the youth experience. The bottom line is I'm not an Oliver Monroe fan. And when they had a chance to get Terry Francona. So they fade every week before the All-Star game in the last 3 years, and they've just carried it over. So when you turned it to the Fermines and the Crickses of this world, you're in trouble.
Yeah, no, it's funny too because you think it's interesting as the Cardinals being a game under and still in the thick of it, 2.5 back of the wild card. You look at the AL, and the AL is absolutely garbage. And there's teams that are 7 games under 500 that are trying to make their way into the postseason and try to get a seat at the table, if you will. Johnny, happy holidays with the Christmas tree behind you. Next time we chat, I know you're going to be doing some stuff with MC22 and Iowa football more this season.
Yep.
Next time we chat, we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. As always, I appreciate you. I got a joke here, but I'm not going to say it. I'll text it to you. Get out of the storage unit and go back to work, and we'll talk to you soon. See you, buddy.
Appreciate you, pal.
All right. That is John Marx joining us here on a Wednesday on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I wanted to talk about the Charles Jugosol situation, the injury where he's at. Came out last week that he's not going to start training camp. I don't think a big surprise. Hopefully he gets back this season. Bottom line, though, is get back, get healthy, and get back to doing what he loves. And Johnny echoed it. Just a great kid. A really good young man. Been to my dad's golf outing several times. State champion wrestler as well. Just a big kid. Like, just a fun person to be around. So we wish him the best of luck as well. Coming up after the break, we have Dan Pearson and your FCA Story of the Week. It's next right here on OTA. Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. You know, if you need help with your heating or air conditioning, or electrical, or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
Welcome back to OTA on a Wednesday here in the Quad Cities. Wednesday, July 29th. Just a couple more days left in July. August is officially nearly upon us. Man, time goes fast. Summer nearly over. Kids go back to school eventually. So, yeah, it's crazy how quickly time is flying. Thank you guys for watching the show so far today. We do appreciate it. Some news and notes before we get out of here. One quick thing, our FCA story of the week. We had one yesterday. Technology is getting the best of me right now, so I can't bring that to you today. We're going to try it again tomorrow. So hopefully that works tomorrow. With that being said, some news and notes that have kind of happened through the mornings. Obviously, training camps are starting in the NFL all over the place. It looks like Caleb Williams has lost 10 to 15 pounds, is what he told the media early this morning. Also, Jahmyr Gibbs, everything running back, best player in the NFC North, in my humble opinion, is holding in at Detroit Lions camp. He won't practice. This is the new thing. Obviously, he's up for a new contract extension. He wants it. It sounds like Bijan Robinson's doing the same thing in Atlanta. As a Lions fan, I'm not concerned that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be out of shape or miss any time this season. And I think they both are working their way towards that contract extension. Hopefully it gets done sooner than later, and the Lions can get their stud back on the field. Bad news, though, Lions fans. There's not a lot of them, but I'm one. Kirby Joseph, not ready to practice yet. That knee injury, former Illini standout. Dan Campbell mentioned today, maybe kind of on the Brian Branch plan, who's coming back from an Achilles injury, that maybe starts practicing, in a couple of weeks, and doubts that either of their safeties will be there for the opener, which is disappointing because when healthy, it's the best two safeties and the best duo in all of football. So anyways, with all that said, a lot to get to coming up later this week. We mentioned Luke Barnwell will be on the show, Iowa assistant coach, on Friday. We'll do a little Summer Sam preview as well on Friday. Coming up in a few weeks on August 9th is the kickoff party for the View from the West and OTA. We're going to be at the other bar in Moline Sunday, August 9th from 4 to 6. Stop by, get some pizza, get some chips and salsa, listen to some coaches. It was a blast last year. We were blown away with the reaction and the amount of support that we got for the show. So we're going to do it again this year. The second annual one comes up on August 9th. And also August 14th, OTA at Iowa Football Media Day. I'm excited about that as well. We'll continue to promote and talk about that as we get rocking and rolling through the month of August. There'll be some changes in August when it comes to hopefully some new looks, some fresh logos, those kind of things here on the show. Picking up a sponsor or two coming up in August as well. If you're interested in partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, reach out to me. We'd love to do some more, but we want to thank our sponsors. They're all awesome. They allow us to do this every single day, so we thank them for being a part of what we get to do, and of course, and a reason that we get to do it. And of course, I want to thank you guys for watching each and every day. We'll be back with another episode of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo coming up tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you guys then.